आप स्टार्टअप्स में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं या अपना स्टार्टअप खुद शुरू करना चाहते हैं? दोनों ही सूरत में आपको देने होंगे बहुत सारे सवालों के जवाब जो आपको मिलेंगे सुपर स्टार्टअप्स में। हेलो एंड वेलकम, आई एम मेहराज दुबे और सुपर स्टार्टअप्स इज अ जर्नी टू डिस्कवर स्टार्टअप्स which are making a difference, and super startups is a journey to discover and honor investors who are making a difference। और हमारे साथ एक ऐसे ही जाने माने इन्वेस्टर हैं और खुद जो बहुत सारी स्टार्टअप्स बनाकर उसमें से एग्जिट कर चुके हैं, उनसे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलने वाला है। सो बने रहिए इस वीडियो पर। मेरे साथ हैं ध्यानु दास, एजिलिटी वेंचर्स के को फाउंडर, और जिन्होंने नामी स्टार्टअप्स में पैसा लगाया, जिनमें से बैटरी जो इंडिया की ओनली प्रॉफिटेबल 100 करोड़ प्लस रेवेन्यू वाली ईवी कंपनी है, और इसके अलावा ग्लैमियो हुआ, पावर गमीज हुआ, और ऐसे कई स्टार्टअप्स में। और आज भी कल भी मुझे बता रहे थे कि एक स्टार्टअप में इन्वेस्टमेंट करके साइन करके आए। ध्यानु, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है।
थैंक यू, रियली अप्रिशिएट।
सो सुपर स्टार्टअप्स की इस वीडियो में ध्यानु हम सीखना चाहते हैं कि कैसे 5 या 10 वो चीज़ें हैं जो एक स्टार्टअप को करनी चाहिए, जो इन्वेस्टर उनमें देखता है, और उनको सॉर्ट आउट रखनी चाहिए ताकि उनको इन्वेस्टमेंट मिल सके, बिकॉज इन्वेस्टमेंट इज की टू अ बिजनेस।
सो स्टार्टअप के या फाउंडर के माइंडसेट से हर एक स्टेज पे अलग तरह का इन्वेस्टर उसको देखना चाहिए। तो अगर वो बहुत अर्ली स्टेज का है तो उसको कहीं से भी पैसा मिले उसको ले लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर पैसा नहीं मिलेगा तो बंद हो जाएगा वो स्टार्टअप। और क्योंकि लोग जो स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड को जानते हैं वो जानते हैं 90% फेल होते हैं, बट बहुत सारे लोग ये नहीं जानते कि 50% उसमें से फेल होते हैं जिनको पैसा ही नहीं मिला। तो कायदे से वो इन्वेस्टर के लिए फेलियर नहीं है, फाउंडर के लिए फेलियर है। एंड दैट्स वाई ऐसे जो अर्ली स्टेज पे हैं वो पैसा किसी से भी ले लें, इट्स परफेक्टली फाइन। जो स्टेज पार कर जाते हैं अर्ली स्टेज, या जिनके पास ये कैपेबिलिटी होती है अर्ली स्टेज पे कि हम लोग पैसा चूज़ कर सकें किससे लेना है, तो उनको उस इन्वेस्टर से पैसा लेना चाहिए जिसका ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड काफ़ी अच्छा हो और जिसने कंपनियों को 0 से 1 तक लाने में काफ़ी हेल्प करी हो। वो एक आपकी जर्नी को और फास्ट ट्रैक कर देगा और बहुत जल्दी, एंड दैट्स सो एंड सो फोर्थ। तो जब आप आईपीओ पे जाने लगे तो डेफिनेटली यू नीड समबडी लाइक एन सॉफ्ट बैंक और अ पर्सन हु इज डन सो मेनी आईपीओस विद देयर कंपनी।
ध्यानु, आपने एक बहुत अच्छी बात कही, 0 to 1, और आपकी इसमें स्पेशलिटी है। आपने बहुत सारी स्टार्टअप्स को 0 से शुरुआत करके हेल्प करके 1 तक ले जाने में हेल्प करी, और आई थिंक वो स्टेज ही सबसे टफ स्टेज भी होता है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों को अपना आइडिया पेश करना नहीं आता। तो एज एन इन्वेस्टर आप क्या देखते हैं जब आपके सामने कोई प्रपोजल आता है? मान लीजिए कि ऐसी बहुत सारी स्टार्टअप्स हैं जिनका फाउंडर बहुत अच्छा है, जिनका आइडिया बहुत अच्छा है, जिनका सब कुछ सॉर्टेड है, और वो अपने 5 लाख, 10 लाख, 15 लाख, 50 लाख अपना स्टेक कोई लेकर बैठे हैं। तो अब उनमें से आप कैसे छांटते हैं?
एक तो सबसे पहले मैं फाउंडर को देखता हूँ, मैं उससे कैंडिड टॉक करता हूँ। मैं बहुत रेयरली पिच डेक्स देखता हूँ। ओनली जब फाइनल हो जाता है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है तब उसका पिच डेक एनालाइज किया जाता है। इसलिए नहीं कि उसने पिच डेक में क्या क्या डाला हुआ है, बल्कि इसलिए कि हम फ्यूचर विजन क्या देख रहे हैं। एंड जब फाउंडर को एनालाइज कर लेते हैं, उसका पर्सनल पर्सोना एनालाइज कर लेते हैं, उसका वे, उसका बीइंग एनालाइज कर लेते हैं, विच इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डू इन 30 मिनट्स और 1 आवर। दैट्स वेयर यू नो the gut feeling or the heart says yes, you should invest in this founder. So that's the first thing. Second thing what I see is the concept, the market size should be so huge कि वो $1 billion का market capture कर सके if everything goes well. बहुत difficult होता है 2-5 हज़ार करोड़ के रेवेन्यू पे पहुंचना, बट कम से कम वो मार्केट होना तो चाहिए। अगर आप बिल्कुल ही निश ऑफ द निश में जा रहे हैं जिसका मार्केट साइज ही इंडिया में 2000 करोड़ का है, उसमें आपका मार्केट शेयर तो 10% ही रहने वाला है, 5% ही रहने वाला है, उससे ऊपर नहीं जा पाएंगे। दैट मीन्स यू आर ओनली टारगेटिंग एट 100 करोड़ सेल्स। दैट इफ इज क्लियर दैट ओके यू आर गेटिंग इनटू समथिंग, लेट्स से पोटैटो चिप्स और समथिंग विच इज ह्यूज मार्केट, आपका शेयर आप कितना ग्रैब करेंगे उसको अंडरस्टैंड थर्ड पार्ट करते हैं। दैट्स हाउ आई एनालाइज। but I also analyze the founders with how he is looking at India as a market, because most of the founders, even outside founder, India is known for the population by most of us, for 1.5 billion population. Nobody knows that India is not one market. Please understand, India is almost 20 different markets. When it comes to north, when it comes to south, different mindsets, different languages, different spending patterns, different choices, everything just changes. If any founder is thinking that India is my market, I don't think I have the right founder in front of me. When a founder thinks that India is one market and he is only capturing that one market, he will never succeed. The point is, if you see any of the unicorns in India, I also had a unicorn in my portfolio, and that unicorn was also concentrating on very few states, generating a revenue of 500 crore per annum. Even when it comes to battery, which Dubey just said कि ये है, तो उसके अंदर भी they are not in all the states. So founder should be very clear of his market. And finally, when we are analyzing the founder, how the hell he is solving the problem.
Exactly, आपने बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात कही ध्यानु जी कि कैसे फाउंडर को आप इवेल्युएट करते हैं और आप देखते हैं कि मार्केट कितना बड़ा है, लेकिन उस मार्केट में भी बहुत सारे मार्केट्स हैं. तो फाउंडर में आप क्या देखते हैं? क्या ये एक ऑनेस्ट होना, एक पैशनेट होना काफ़ी है, या उसके पास बहुत अच्छा आइडिया या बहुत बड़ी डिग्री होना चाहिए, या आप ये देखते हैं कि वो IIT का है कि नहीं?
So I think most of the companies I invested in, I don't think I have asked their degrees or college. I don't think I have done that. Now for the fund, that's the first thing our team asks, because of the form they have to fill. But otherwise, even today, I don't go for the pedigrees or IITs or IIMs. The only difference between the IITs and IIM, what I personally see is, they have proved themselves to be the 1% of the students who are getting in there. But if you see the most successful startups of India, they are not from that. Vijay Shekhar Sharma is from DTU. The biggest of the founders of the world are dropouts. Though they gone to the biggest of the universities, Stanford to Harvard to all that, Bill Gates, but they are dropouts, first year. Steve Jobs was not in any of these colleges as well. So I see that the founder's integrity is another must to have. I do ask him a lot of questions about his background, and I do try to dig him deep. Where I see him fumbling or where I see him hiding some facts, I am not interested in investing at all. He have to be crystal clear. I am giving him my money, and that money comes for free. That money comes with zero risk. He don't have to pay me back if he fails. He don't have to give me interest if he fails. It comes with zero risk at all. And if he is not candid enough with me, he is not transparent enough with me, I will not invest in that for sure.
So फाउंडर में क्या क्या होना चाहिए हम सुन रहे हैं, और कुछ और भी ऐसी बातें देखें, लेकिन एक बात काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग बताई ध्यानु जी ने कि IIM या IIT की डिग्री देखकर ही इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं होता, यानी अपॉर्चुनिटी हम सबके लिए है जो IIM नहीं भी गए हो या IIT नहीं भी गए हो. लेकिन इसके अलावा इन्वेस्टर क्या क्या देख रहा है? क्या कंपनी पहले से रजिस्टर्ड होनी चाहिए? क्या आइडिया बहुत ओरिजिनल होना चाहिए? क्या इस तरह की बातें भी आप देखते हैं?
सर, आई थिंक मैं जो प्राइमरीली देखता हूँ, आइडिया का सॉल्यूशन बिल्कुल सिंपल होना चाहिए एंड प्रॉब्लम बिल्कुल सिंपल होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कई सारे फाउंडर्स मेरे को मिलते हैं जो प्रॉब्लम एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती और वो उसको सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं. सो आई विल नेवर इन्वेस्ट इन अ प्रॉब्लम विच इज़ अकॉर्डिंग टू माई और मोस्ट ऑफ द अंडरस्टैंडिंग. द प्रॉब्लम नीड्स टू बी एक्सप्लेन्ड. लेट्स से द प्रॉब्लम शुड बी अंडरस्टूड इन अ सेकेंड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द कंपनी battery which is into EVs. EV is a solution for petrol and diesels. We all know that. The problem is there because government of India wants to convert their entire production of the scooters or bikes into EVs in the next 3-5 years. By 2030, definitely they will go zero production of electric, zero production of petrol or diesel bikes. So the problem is there. In the 7 years they have to solve. Now the guy is solving it in a very simple way. He is not producing the high-tech scooter, or he is not producing the self-balancing scooter. He is bought the scooter जिसके टैंक फुल करने से शायद वो 150 किलोमीटर चल जाता था. इस बॉट दी स्कूटर जिसकी बैटरी चार्ज करने से 150 किलोमीटर चल जाता है. सेम स्टील बॉडी, जस्ट द वे इट वॉज अर्लियर. सेम स्टाइल ऑफ स्कूटर, द वे इट वॉज what you have seen. Same comfort what the other scooters are giving, and everything similar to what is already there in the market. So he is solving the problem in a most simple way. And look at the name battery, because I still find people who own the electric vehicle as a bike, they call it battery निकाल ले, battery पे चलते हैं. They don't call it कि यामा निकाल ले, या they don't call it कि passion निकाल ले. You know, they call it battery निकाल ले, battery पे चलते हैं. So they even call the other EV companies as well कि battery निकाल ले, battery पे. So they found the name so simple. So simplicity is a must in any founder, and if the simplicity is there, I am there to invest in it.
So very interesting, Dhianu. अब मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगा कि बात आती है जहाँ पर स्टेक देने की, और आजकल अब घर घर में लोग बैठ के शार्क टैंक देख रहे हैं और वो समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि कितना स्टेक आप बेच सकते हैं. एक इन्वेस्टर क्या हमेशा एक बहुत बड़ा चंक उसमें से चाहता है एक स्टार्टअप में? क्या इन्वेस्टर हमेशा, या वो ही इज़ ओके अबाउट फाउंडर कीपिंग अ लार्ज चंक एंड यू नो देयर इज़ अ रूम फॉर ग्रोथ?
So there is stages again. So in the first stage, I personally don't take more than 20%. Now it's even decreased to 10%. 15%, but not more than 20%. That's my cap. 20% is the cap, because 80% with the founder will give him right mix of, you know, pride, right mix of ownership, and he feels that, you know, I own this company. If I take 80% and that guy is owing 20%, he is working hard. He is putting his time, which is we value our time as investors. We value his time as well. He is, as a founder, putting his time, which cannot come back. Our money can come back in any other startup. I put in your startup, hers, any other people's startup. One can fail, other can pass. My money will come back. His time will never come back. So we must value his time, the founder's time. And that's what I value. And I don't take more than 20%. But when it comes to other funds which are at a Series A, Series B, they try to take about 30-35%. But they give big money, like $5 million to $10 million, which is okay. They should. And founder still remains at around 50%.
आपने एक बहुत अच्छी बात कही ध्यानु कि इंडिया के अंदर भी बहुत सारे मार्केट हैं, 20 मार्केट हैं, 25 मार्केट हैं, अलग अलग बोली बोलते हैं लोग. ऐसे ही आपने एक मार्केट मेरे ख्याल से कार मैकेनिक्स में भी देखा था, और गो मैकेनिक जो बहुत बड़ी सक्सेस थी और बाद में उसकी कहानी थोड़ी बदल गई. यू वर अमंग द फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टर्स इन गो मैकेनिक. आपने क्या देखकर उसमें इन्वेस्ट किया था और उसके बाद वो इतना बड़ा बन गया?
तो आई थिंक आप इस बात से एग्री करेंगे कि हिंदुस्तान में कुछ 4 करोड़ गाड़ियाँ हैं जो रेगुलर सर्विस पे जाती हैं, और इंडिया इतनी ज़्यादा प्राइस सेंसिटिव है कि थर्ड फ्री सर्विस के बाद सिर्फ 60 से 70% गाड़ियाँ ही जाती हैं वापस OEM के पास, और आफ्टर 5 years ओनली 30 to 40% कार्स. दैट मीन्स कि जो भी गाड़ी 5 साल पुरानी होती है वो OEM के पास नहीं जाती, क्योंकि उनको लगता है बहुत ज़्यादा खर्चा आता है. दिस इज़ नॉट स्मॉल कार्स. एवरी कार, चाहे वो लग्जरी गाड़ी हो, चाहे वो मास कार हो. तो देयर वाज अ ह्यूज गैप. और अगर आप गो मैकेनिक से पहले देखें तो आपको याद हो तो कोई भी ऐसा मल्टी ब्रांड सर्विस सेंटर ऑल इंडिया के लिए था ही नहीं. देयर वाज नोबडी. एंड जो OEM करता था ट्रस्ट क्रिएट, कि हमारे पास आ रही है तो ट्रस्ट है, और जो टाइम OEM मैच कर लेता था कि ठीक है कल आ जाना गाड़ी ले जाना, वो लोकल गैराजेस कर ही नहीं पा रहे. सो आई आइडेंटिफाइड द प्रॉब्लम. व्हेन द फाउंडर पिच्ड मी इन 2016, आई रिमेंबर, you know, telling them that I am on board. Within the first meeting only, I wrote them the check. I mean, I did not wanted to see their pitch deck. I did not wanted to. I met only one founder and I gave him the check, and the journey started. And we all know it reached a unicorn level, and then, you know, touched a 500 crore turnover. I also, you know, I understand that the founders were, I came to know that the founder are Ivy, they were IIM Ahmedabad guys, which I never knew before giving them the check. I came to know after almost 3-4 months that they are IIMs. There was no employee, there was nothing, but then, you know, the company tackled the problem so well that they spread across India. And they went from zero servicing to almost servicing 50,000 cars a month.
लेकिन आपको लगता है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट के बाद भी कुछ ऐसी बात थी जो वो बड़ी होती गई कंपनी, क्योंकि क्या एज एन इन्वेस्टर यू ऑल्सो गाइड कंपनीज एंड यू थिंक ऑल फाउंडर्स शुड बी ओपन टू दैट आइडिया? और ये सवाल मैं दोनों साइड से पूछ रहा हूँ. लॉट ऑफ इन्वेस्टर्स थिंक कि हम एक बार इन्वेस्ट कर देंगे, हम वो कंपनी पूरी खुद ही चलाएंगे, और वो कई बार फाउंडर्स को पसंद नहीं आता. तो वहाँ पे जाके हाउ व्हाट वाज दिस स्टोरी लाइक इन गो मैकेनिक?
So I think I took partial exits in the company, and I multiplied my money. I must say that when Sequoia came, they bought some share, or I bought some shares. Tiger Global bought some shares. I still was sitting on large chunk, big monies, I would say. And I remember since last 4 years, except for the last 2 months, 3 months when they got into trouble, I used to meet the founders once in a while, not very regularly. And every time we used to meet, we just used to chit chat, think of investing in other companies, think of what next, not in Go Mechanic, but as a general. And I think we both were aligned, the founders and me personally, that look, we will not talk Go Mechanic or business, we will only talk friends, family, and we'll talk markets or startups, nothing else, because they had the investors in the form of Sequoia, IDG, Chirate, Tiger Global, who could guide them much better, because my personal thesis is I have grown company from 0 to 1, probably between a 1 crore to a 100 crore, 200 crore company. Beyond that, I used to hand it over to the other funds. I mean, like handhold them to take them to Sequoia, to bigger funds, who then can handhold them and take them to next level. So founders need absolute help in every stage. Now, if you are Sequoia, you should be helping them into getting millions of dollars and sitting with them every week. If you are early stage, you should be talking to only angels who have a proven track record. Fluke can be in one company. Fluke cannot be in 5 or 6 companies. If an investor is invested and he's worked with the different companies, you can get access to those companies just by typing on Google that, okay, Mr. Das, I have invested in Power Gummies, in Go Mechanic, in Glamio, or 20, 40 different companies. You can reach out to those founders and talk to them that, look, I was thinking of taking money from Mr. Das or Mr. XYZ. What do you think? They will give you an answer in less than 5 minutes, less than 5 seconds. Yes or no. They will say, don't take money, or yes, go ahead. Even if the valuation is very low, you must go ahead. I am very fortunate that, even today, I get recommendation. 50 to 60% of the companies I invest in got the reference from my existing founders, or the companies who spoken to my founders and then came to me. So that's what the ratio is.
गो मैकेनिक की 2 बहुत अच्छी बातें बताई ध्यानु जी आपने, लेकिन मुझे अब समझना है आपसे कि फिर क्या हुआ क्या? क्योंकि गो मैकेनिक एक बहुत बड़ी कहानी बन गई. It is a story of success, but it is also a story of failure.
I personally still believe in the founders. I believe they have not siphoned off any money. They have not done any fraud. I personally believe that, and I have spoken to them. I speak to them very regularly. I would say that, my best investment became the biggest loss as well, because I used to call Go Mechanic as my insurance, my fallback plan, and on that basis, I was doing a lot of things. But luckily, because being a risk taker and I have invested in many companies, almost close to 80 companies now, I realized that, that was my fallback plan was not Go Mechanic, but the companies I have invested in. And because of them, I am still there in the industry and would be investing in future. This is what I do. Go Mechanic के साथ क्या हुआ? I don't think at the moment I am the right person. I am still in conversation with the team members, with the founders. But at the moment, the best thing what they have done is selling the company to somebody, and the company is still going. The brand will live for long time now. The people who are using their services, 2-3 million downloads, they are still happy with the services. I have sent my car to them. Even now I do that. But the gap has been created because The company was so big that they were expanding it so well that they were doing up almost close to 2000, 1800, 1900 cars they touched in their peak per day. So that's like huge number, and with that huge number, if they are not being that aggressive now, definitely there is a huge gap created.
लेकिन हम स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स के लिए या इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए, एज एन इन्वेस्टर डू यू वांट टू शेयर एनी लेसन्स, एंड एज अ फाउंडर बहुत सारे लोग देख रहे होंगे, उनके लिए कोई लेसन?
So after signing off the papers for the Go Mechanic, because the companies got sold, investors lost money, I saw that there is another company in my portfolio, Fixigo. So I'm still very bullish on the market, very bullish. Those guys got aggressive, very aggressive. They met me after this episode. They said, we want to go even. So I still believe in the market. I don't want to time the market. I don't want to go against the market. If something I can see that there is gap, I would like to invest in the companies who are filling that gap, for sure. As an investor, I learned a lot of things, that I should be more active when my money is there, and I should at least be talking to them once in 3 months, taking some MIS, taking some reports, or talking to them if they are doing okay, because suddenly things doesn't happen, and everything happens over a period of time. And most of the founders in India fall into a different mindset in 2020, 2021, when I called it's a holiday period for everyone. You join my company and you get a bike. You join my company and you get a 1 year salary in advance, free. I mean, you don't have to work for that salary. You join my company and I'll give you a 3 times the raise. Whereas the startup founders were there, they were talking to investors like, are you giving me money in the evening? If not, then I cannot explain you my concept. And I'm like, what? I seriously did not get you. I mean, you are talking to me for your company, by just the name I should give you money. And that happened. That literally happened, not just with me, with every investor. Even if you know the company and you are ready to invest, you need to do the due diligence. So every founder was in the mindset that paisa to kabhi band hi nahi hoga. It will be coming in and coming in. I think that's one of the biggest reason of Go Mechanic as well, that they wanted to raise money, they were raising money, they had the term sheet and everything was there. But when it did not come through, the company went into big trouble.
All right, so हमें आपको लगता है कि गो मैकेनिक जैसी अभी बहुत सारी सक्सेस एंड फेलियर स्टोरीज बाजार में आएंगी, लेकिन इन्वेस्टर्स को क्या डरना चाहिए? आपको लगता है स्टार्टअप स्पेस में अभी भी बहुत सारा स्टीम है और आने वाले सालों में बहुत अच्छा कुछ रिवॉर्ड्स मिल सकते हैं उसमें?
सर, वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड what is a startup. Most of the people, thanks to Shark Tank, lot of people have understood what is startup, what they do and why I invest. Thanks to Shark Tank again, that my family, though my wife and my elder daughter understood what I do, but now I see my 13-year-old daughter sitting alone and watching Shark Tank. My immediate family, who never knew what I do, now they call me mini Shark Tank. So they say, my friend says he runs his own Shark Tank, and they feel happy about it, and they also want to, best part, I have few friends who are probably in their ultra HNI category, and they want their kids to join me as an intern, so that they can understand the startup ecosystem. That means the startup ecosystem is the best thing that has happened to India in the last decade. Nothing else. And mark my words, how many jobs, how many unicorns, 100 unicorns, how much contribution it have done to the economy. And the way the ecosystem is, the way the founders are, the way the investment is, I personally am a product of startup ecosystem. I made my I think 99% of my wealth from startups. In the last 7-8 years, and I believe my daughter is full-time into it with my company, and I want my kids to be in the startup ecosystem. There is a huge opportunity. So to understand a startup is nothing but a business. Like you give money to your kids or your family or your brother, younger brother, elder brother, or anybody who We as investors give money to the people who we don't know, and we find success in them. We find our returns in them. And Indian startup ecosystem, I believe, have grown from 500 odd registered startup in 2015 to almost close to 1 lakh in 8 years. I very well remember, when Modi ji said that, he's creating a fund of funds in 2015. That's what changed my life personally. I will be there in this startup system, and I urge every businessman, we do charity, we should do some startup investment, make a budget from your business that you will be investing some percentage of your money earning into startups.
Well, that almost sounds like, like in our last conversation we were talking that, do you think startup investment is almost like a national service, nation building service?
Yes, absolutely. It is a nation building service, because the founders, we compare one founder to all 1,000 other founders. If one founder have done something wrong, then everybody will be wrong. It doesn't work like that. Look at the builder community. I mean, we jokingly say that, the industry is failed. Industry never failed. Industry, you still need homes, you still need the builders. Some of the builders who are small time builder or big time builders, they did something wrong, and that killed some interest or some people's mindset that real estate is bad. But it's not bad. I think the best industry that got created in the last decade, 10 years, has produced much more wealth than any other industry done in the last 100 years.
फैंटास्टिक. लेकिन सर अब ये सवाल मुझे वहाँ ले जा रहा है कि एक सक्सेसफुल स्टार्टअप के पीछे न जाने कितनी सैकड़ों फेल्ड स्टार्टअप्स भी होंगे, तो फिर आप कैसे कैलकुलेशन करें कि हम पैसा लगाएं या ना लगाएं, और कितना रिस्क है? ऐसा ना हो कहीं कि हमारी बात सुन के कोई अपने सारी लाइफ की सेविंग स्टार्टअप्स में लगा दे और उसका वो गो मैकेनिक गॉन हो जाए.
So I always say that, start with 5%. I am 95% invested into startups. 5% इसलिए नहीं है कि घर खरीद लिया है, कोई थोड़े बहुत गाड़ियाँ होंगी या कुछ छोटा मोटा होगा, but I don't have a FD. I am very particular about. I don't have mutual funds. I don't have my investment in listed entities at all. 95% of my investment is in startups, and I only do that. But I tell people the other way. I say start with 5%. Let's say your wealth, your personal wealth is, let's say 1 lakh. So put 5,000 into a startup, or if your wealth is 1 crore, put 5 lakhs into a startup. And every year you should be putting 5% of your income into startup. You can go up to 10, 12, 15% over a period of 3 to 5 years. The more you understand, the more you will put. Startups is also like, buying a property. I can show you thousands of people who bought property, not just in India, in China or anywhere else. The projects were never got completed.
कई बार प्रॉपर्टी में पैसा लोगों का डूब चुका है और बेमतलब
अटक जाते हैं.
जी
टोटली. एंड बड़ा पैसा अटकता है, हार्ड अर्न मनी अटकता है. एंड स्टार्टअप में आप उसी से शुरू करिए, छोटे से, एंड स्लोली यू रीच. एंड आई पर्सनली बिलीव दैट इफ यू इन्वेस्ट वेरी रेगुलरली ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ 10 years, by the end of 10 years, if you are investing 5% of your income, you will be at par with other wealth of yours. I am very sure.
So I think startup के बारे में ना सिर्फ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स बल्कि स्टार्टअप मार्केट और अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ के बारे में हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा. और अभी भी मुझे कोई कहानी सुननी है, उसके बिना हम ध्यानु जी को थैंक यू नहीं बोलेंगे. ध्यानु जी, आपने बहुत सारे फाउंडर्स से मुलाकात की, अभी भी करते हैं. मेरे ख्याल से हर हफ्ते आप 5-10 फाउंडर्स से मिलते हैं, और आपने बताया 80 से ज़्यादा स्टार्टअप इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आप कर चुके हैं. कोई ऐसी कहानी जो याद रह गई हो आपको, जो हम सब के लिए?
सारी ज़्यादा सर, all 80 I remember, because it's not that old. First of all, it's only 7-8 years of journey, 9 years of journey. Secondly, from where they start. So I'll share one story which is very dear to me. So I remember the founder met me for some other startup, and I said, "No, I will not be able to invest in that startup." The founder's name is Divij Bajaj. Then I met him again for some other work, and he said, "Sir, I am starting something new." I said, "Okay, what are you starting?" He said, "Sir, I am starting gummies which will solve hair loss problem. Gummies which will be solving the hair loss problem." I said, "Okay, what is it? And how will it solve?" He said, "Sir, India में most of the people think that 35 साल के बाद आदमियों के बाल उड़ते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है, औरतों के भी उड़ते हैं, और रेगुलरली उड़ते हैं. औरतों का बाल, क्योंकि बहुत सारी औरतें बोल नहीं पाती एंड दे डू ट्रीटमेंट सो वेल दैट उनके बाल बच जाते हैं, आदमी ट्रीटमेंट नहीं करते हैं. आई सेड ओके, सो व्हाट्स द सॉल्यूशन? Now you told me the problem which is there, and I was personally going through such a big mess in my hair loss that I went to the doctor for weaving of my hair, and I am still all natural. And that was the time when I was going through that problem. And I said, okay, what's the solution? He said, sir, this is the gummies. I imported it from China, and sir, दो ही main components हैं जो करते हैं, और मैंने वो इसके अंदर डाल दिए हैं, and ये आप try करिए. I said, okay, I'll try, but सॉल्यूशन कैसे होगा? बोला सर आप 2 गोली रोज की खाइए गमीज की एंड इट्स डन. आई सेड इतना ही आसान है क्या? एंड आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू द मेस बिकॉज डॉक्टर के पास जाना है, वो चेक करता था, कोई बोलता था इंजेक्शन लगाओ, कोई बोलता था वीविंग करो, कोई बोलता था ये वाली मेडिसिन खाओ. सच अ बैड मेडिसिन. देयर इज अ मेडिसिन, हेयर फैक्ट इज द नेम, विच यू कैन ईट फॉर 3 months. बट द मेडिसिन रूटीन इज मंडे को ये वाली 2 गोलियाँ खानी है, ट्यूसडे को ये वाली खानी है, वेडनेसडे को ये वाली, एंड इफ यू मिस एनी डे ऑफ द वीक यू कैन नॉट ईट इट द नेक्स्ट डे, यू हैव टू ईट इट द फॉलोइंग वीक. एंड आई वॉज डूइंग दैट बिकॉज माई हेयर फॉल वॉज हैपनिंग. एंड आई सेड कभी भी खा सकते हैं? सर कभी भी, खाने के पहले, खाने के बाद. सर एनी टाइम. श्योर? हाँ श्योर. आई सेड ओके, आई एम इन्वेस्टिंग. एंड सेम 30 minutes I gave him the confirmation, we made the term sheet. 3rd, 4th day the check was in. He was looking for a very small amount and very small valuation, and we started selling. Now पूरा सामान import किया चाइना से 2018. In the first year, I remember I took him to almost 50 investors and everybody rejected because there was no moat. There was no, anybody could start gummies business. And I used to tell investors कि इसका एक ही मोट है, इसका जो taste है ना, it's so good that आप ना चाहते हुए भी खा लोगे. So I gave it to some investor and they started eating, and one investor called me who invested about 5 crores now. He said, there is a problem. I said, what is the problem? He said, I ate 10 gummies in a span of 4 hours. I said, sir, ये क्या करा? And then I called up the funder. I said, 10 gummies in a span of 4 hours, क्या होगा आप? He said, nothing sir, it will flush out. I said, are you sure? Because I don't want him to feel any problem and all that. And the investor was okay. The next day the investor was fine, and he invested as well because he invested after 4 months. When he saw the changes, my daughter eats it, my wife eats it. Today the guy is generating about 5 crore gross revenue. Who is the investor in the company? The first investor was me, lucky, very lucky. He's got Wipro, Marico, DSG, Venture Catalyst, 9 unicorns. You name it and he's got it on cap table. And generating about 60 crore revenue by just producing hair fall gummies. And now after 5 years he established a factory in Manesar. Trust me, you go there and you will find the factory at par with international standards, same taste as what he was importing from China. And he can produce with a small factory setup, he can produce gummies worth about 200 crores every year from that small factory. That's the kind of story, starting with a nobody to somebody, and now #1 brand of the country, brand ambassador Shraddha Kapoor, sales of 60 crores a year, turning EBITDA positive, and best investor. What other thing you need in a company which is now valued at over 150 crores? What else you need? And there are so many stories like that.
गोलियां चबाते चबाते जो सक्सेस पैसा बन गया. I'm sure there are many more stories and we will love to hear again. ध्यानु जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका, आपने वक्त निकाला सुपर स्टार्टअप्स के लिए. And I'm sure our viewers will take a lot of lessons home from this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you Mehraj ji.